Activate.
Hey everybody, welcome to This Pink Cloud. We're a show that is about multiple pathways to recovery, all that good stuff. I am DJ Kelly Reverb. Actually, Chad couldn't make it today. He is in McKinney, so the roads are a little dicey, and let's be honest, he's a pussy. Anyway, so yes, I said it. But anyway, so I am kind of running the show today, all by myself, but I am excited to have this young guy in the studio again. We had your episode and it was called, Ferris Bueller's Day Off for Life. And, yeah, it got some views and ruffled a few feathers. As far as people from your past, but then also you had that oh shit, I should have said this kind of regret afterwards. So anyway, this is a place where it's a judgment-free zone, and we can do makeups. It's make believe. It's the internet's.
Makeups.
So, yeah. So everybody, welcome my buddy Ryan McCartor.
Hey,
what's up, dude?
Dude, chilling.
Yeah, well, so like since the last episode, I know it had a lot of views, and then I think you ruffled some feathers, correct?
Just mildly, not too catastrophic.
Right.
I think I should have been use some discernment. I mean, I don't think anyone wants to be put on blast like that.
Right. Well, you didn't really necessarily drop any names, but, I mean.
Mom is a name.
Mom, I guess. Yeah, I guess mom is a name.
Nah, but me and mom are good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shit took her a little bit, and I will say that although we have been through all the things, she is one of my closest friends today.
Oh, okay. Well,
like, we're close. We're both turds.
Y'all are both turds.
Like our sense of humor, what gets us going is dark.
Right. Well, it's probably like Chad and I. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit like similar. That, but yeah.
I mean,
probably.
My mom's favorite song currently is Rack City.
Oh, nice. So I don't know what that is.
Rack City, bitch.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
For the youngsters out there, I don't know.
Right.
What the fuck it is.
Well, so you wanted to basically just kind of come on because you felt like you didn't really. You told your backstory, and then that was kind of it. You didn't really go on to, the message, so to speak, like you normally would do in your presentations.
Well, man, to be fair, I go speak at a lot of places.
Yeah.
And I've literally done this before. Showed up to a place and said, here's my mugshots. I'm qualified to be here. Let's talk about what changed.
Right.
That's what's important to me.
Right.
I think if you're in the 12 steps, big book stuff, the Jaywalker story is everyone's story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
well, okay. So for those that don't know that story, why don't we just put it into a little bit of a definition for them.
So the jaywalker is a dude that jaywalks all the time, and each time more bad shit happens over and over, and he keeps doing it over and over.
And he kind of doesn't understand why the bad shit's happening.
Right. Well,
right.
He keeps doing it.
Right.
And that's as addicts and alcoholics, that's our story.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, well, I just wanted to give them because people have a tendency that are big book enthusiasts and all that, have a tendency to just think that, everybody knows what that story is.
Are you a big book enthusiast?
I am to a certain degree, but I can't quote it, so to speak. I can probably quote a little bit here and there, but I am not like one of those people that can start quoting like the Roman numeral pages and stuff.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. I don't go that
I
deep.
definitely can.
Yeah.
But I know it well enough that I can articulate it.
Right.
And I think what I kind of wanted to get at today is y'all are multiple pathways, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
12 steps might not be the only way.
Yeah, no, and agreed. Yeah, so that's why I love to have people on, that talk about everything. I mean, there's cognitive behavioral therapy, and basically, but it's so funny. Everything that's out there, even cognitive behavioral therapy, is kind of based on the 12 steps, but they just kind of water it down and leave out the God part.
Oh, you want to hear the best lesson in cognitive behavioral therapy ever?
Let's hear it.
So, when I was in prison, I was at a pretty rough and tumble unit, and monthly each prisoner would go individually through the warden's office. And this lady, she was a big black lady, would ask 2 questions. Have you been raped? Was the first one.
Okay.
And you say no. If you haven't been raped,
Right.
it's no. And do you feel safe?
Right.
So she did it on a Monday. I was getting out that Wednesday. So it's like, oh, here's an opportunity to be kind of a smartass. And she said, do you feel safe in your dorm? And I said, no. And she said, well, you should have thought about that before you came to prison.
Right.
So cognitive behavioral therapy, now I think about that shit. That's the best lesson I ever had.
There you go. That was a good one. But I guess, I don't know, do you want to get into... let's touch on your backstory. Just give like the 5-minute tour. And if they want to hear the full backstory, they can go back, and it's called, the episode is called Ferris Bueller's Day Off for Life, or was it?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
For
life.
So basically I start off as a drug addict my whole life.
Yeah.
All the drugs.
And your mom was also in there kind of as a party buddy.
I mean, mom was in there as a party buddy, but, that was in my early years from like 18 to 34. Mom wasn't so much in the picture anymore. And that's where I really took off. Like needles came a thing. The criminal element of addiction came in. All that good stuff.
Well, and also you have one lung, right?
We'll say 1.5.
1.5 lung. Yeah. Well, we didn't touch on that all. So let's hear about that story, because that's a good one.
It's super interesting. Like, I got sober and started doing all these things right. And with sobriety, my sponsor was a dickhead, dude. And like
your first sponsor?
Yeah, the one that sat me down and changed my life. He was 12-step oriented for a bit. And then after a bit, he was like, okay, what's your credit score?
Yeah.
Like, are you in recovery if your credit score is a fucking 500?
Right.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So he was all about me making all the extra money I could. And at the time, I had a buddy that owned this pressure washing business that would do like behind restaurants, grease traps.
Okay, sure.
And it was like a night job, like something you could do on the side and make pretty good money.
Right.
Well, in the fall in Lubbock, and it's probably all over Texas, those stupid ass blackbirds shit all over everything.
Right.
And I had the opportunity to do like a whole block worth of sidewalk at Texas Tech University. That was completely 100% covered in it.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, hey, dude, you want to go out there and blast your shit off? And I was like, yeah, sure. It took me like 2 hours, blasted it all off.
Right.
So these pressure washers will cut your hand off. They will take the paint off your car, and the water comes out like over boiling, like it's hot.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's no joke for sure.
So I just went out there and blasted it off and didn't think anything of it.
Right.
Sick. I made $500.
Right.
Time to go home.
And of course, no mask, right? Yeah.
What? No.
Right.
Is that like a condom? I don't know what that is either.
It's like a condom for your face.
Well, so like a week later, I get sick. And I'm like, let's push through it. And like, I'm still working. I'm working 2 jobs. I'm working all day, and I'm working most nights, just trying to make extra money. And I had this job that was on like I want to say it was a Friday that I had to get done. It was a Dutch Brothers Coffee that was opening up, and they were opening up Saturday. So we were doing like the final cleaning of the whole building. And dude, I was struggling, man. I had my pressure washing hose, and I could like barely hold it up.
Right.
So I was like double scooping, dry scooping, pre-workout, just like whatever to give me a boost. And I was like, man, I can't fucking do this, dude. I got to go. So my plan was I was going to go to like the urgent care clinic and like get some help. It's not what I did. I went and got some NyQuil, and went to sleep Friday night.
Right.
So I went to sleep
That's
Friday.
so funny, dude. But like, what are your here? Wait, scoot up a little bit because like the sun's like right on you. Or,
Dude, I don't think
or
that's
you can close that if you want. But yeah, so that's so funny because like some people are like even sketchy like about taking NyQuil in recovery. You know.
Some people are pussies too. I mean, I don't know. Just tell 'em.
No, but I mean, some people are because it does have alcohol in it. So
Yeah, it doesn't have enough to test.
well, if you drink the entire bottle of NyQuil, it will put you out.
So I think if you drink the whole bottle of NyQuil, you would get fucked up.
Yeah.
And like, this is how ridiculously clean I am today. I'm prescribed trazodone and I have melatonin.
Yeah.
I take it so sparingly because if I do, I wake up hungover.
Yeah, dude. No, trazodone for me will give me a headache. I'll wake up with a headache for sure.
Dude, I probably have 1,000 of them, and I'll take like a half of one, like on a Saturday
even
night.
Even if I crush them up and snort them.
Well, dude, no, like I'll take a half of one just till I like sleep good, and the next morning I wake up, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's like a hangover. Really,
Yeah, for sure.
is.
So NyQuil, anything does that to me.
Right. So anyway, so you're taking some NyQuil, thinking you're just sick.
Right. So Friday night, NyQuil. Dude, I did not get out of bed until Sunday. And like I had been coughing in my sleep. Like this is super weird. And I was coughing so much, it felt like someone was trying to punch out of my brain. Mm-hmm. And then I started coughing so much on Sunday morning that I ended up throwing up from coughing.
Oh, wow.
And when I threw up, there was like, have you ever go fishing for catfish?
I have.
You know what chicken liver looks like?
I do.
That's what I was throwing up.
Ooh.
That's what it looked like. And I was like, there's blood and flesh. Like this is bad.
Yeah, that's not good, dude.
So,
there's the lining. Some of the lining of my lung.
Dude, I had no idea what it was. I just knew that it tasted bad and like this is rough.
Yeah.
So I go to like a little bullshit urgent care clinic, not even an ER. And I go in and there was a doctor, Dr. Manson, which was sketchy.
Right.
They like do the COVID test, strep. They do all these tests, and I'm negative for everything. But I had 105 fever, and they're like, something's fucked up. Like, we're not letting you leave.
Right.
So in a last-ditch effort, they did a CT scan, and like, we're going to do this. It's not going to take very long, and we'll come back. They said 15, 20 minutes later. Dude, I sat there for like 2.5 hours, just like, okay, like, what the fuck? And this Dr. Manson, he comes in the little waiting room or whatever, and he sits down and he folds his hands. He goes, hey, dude, there's no easy way to tell you this, so I'm just going to say it. You have a 7-inch mass on your lung, and an ambulance is on its way to come get you. And I was like,
holy crap.
Like, what?
Yeah.
He's like, dude, that's that picture I sent you.
Right, yeah, and I'll cut it in here.
So that is the first picture I got.
Yeah, and it's like a mass on your lung.
Yeah,
that's like. I mean, you said 7 inches, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's your lungs are divided into 5 sections. Your right section, your right lung has an upper, middle, and lower lobe, and your left lung has just an upper and lower.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So was that like anything? Was that pre-existing, or did that just simply happen from the bird turds?
So the bird turds is a hypothesis.
Okay.
Like we don't really know.
Okay, so it could have been there. It could have been pre-existing, which chances are it was. If it was that big of a mass, you probably had something going on, and then the bird turds aggravated it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, the doctors do they sent me from that urgent care unit to ICU. The ICU that was like the hazmat ICU where they had 2 sliding glass doors to even get into it, and people would come in a hazmat suit. They didn't know if I had tuberculosis. They didn't know what I had.
It was like the movie E.T., dude. Like everybody's
it was in
the space mask, and you're like,
well. So they couldn't even diagnose it for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they took 70 tissue samples out of my lung, which was fucking brutal, dude.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, how do they do the sample?
They put you to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't know if it was like, something specific, like they had like, did they go down your throat or in through your chest?
They did both ways. They did laparoscopically and endoscopically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, 'cause they didn't
They
know.
did it a few times up my cornhole, but I was asleep.
But they couldn't even diagnose what it was.
Right.
I mean, and the term they came up with was necrotizing pneumonia.
Okay.
Which is really just an umbrella term for you got fucking gangrene in your lungs.
Oh, wow.
And then when they told me that, like, of course, I have my phone, I Google it. the first thing that showed up when you Google necrotizing pneumonia is a 50% mortality rate in the first 10 days.
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
I'm going to fucking die here.
Nice.
But they threw the kitchen sink at it, and like, I got better.
Right. So did they have to like remove part of your lung, or how did it go?
No, the cool thing about that is it removed itself.
Okay. So
Like, I hacked it up. I hacked pieces of my lung up for about, I was in the hospital for 4 weeks.
okay.
And they would give me cups. They wanted me to save it. And I would fill the little styrofoam cups up like 3-4 times a day.
Right.
And it was fucking horrible.
That is horrible. Yeah.
Dude, so they gave me drugs. In the
Well,
hospital
I mean,
for sure.
because like I've done like where you'll cough up like what they call like a throat tonsil.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like that's been hanging out for a little bit, and anything that's rotten that's been inside your body is disgusting.
Well,
so.
rotten flesh in your body
Yeah.
is the fucking worst. And
Yeah.
the taste of it was,
Oh
what
my
was
God,
real
dude.
bad.
I can only imagine.
But yeah, like, so, that happened around 18 months of sobriety,
Okay.
and a
So
whole
how old were you then?
35,
35, and you're how old now?
39 and a half.
39 and a half. Nice. I'm this many. But okay, so yeah, that's crazy. So then I guess it healed itself, but then you're kind of like impeded with your current breathing status.
Yeah, breathing is stupid. It's real dumb, but I'll tell you,
Dumb but necessary.
it's real interesting, like being in the hospital for an extended period of time. My kids are super scared to see me.
Oh yeah.
So like
in the hospital.
yeah,
right?
so I think they visited me like once or twice.
Yeah.
And like my mom, she flew to town. Like she sat with me most of the time, and like I had a couple of friends.
So your mom like had some redemption there.
Oh fuck yeah.
Nice. Okay, so she was there for you when you were possibly on your deathbed.
Yeah, no, mom was there like the most.
Okay, cool. Love that.
Yeah, and in that time though, like I did have a lot of time by myself, and I read like a fucking Jordan Peterson book and a David Goggins book, and I'm like, man, fuck these people. Like,
Right.
I'm fucking dying. I don't want to hear this shit.
Yeah.
But I got some good introspection on my life, and it made me view some things a different way. Like, dude, I'm potentially dying here.
Right.
How am I spending time with my kids?
Yeah.
Like, are we in the same room together, all on tablets?
Right.
Is that spending time together, or is that just being in the same room? And then, like, I will tell you now, I'm 39 and a half with a third of my lung missing, and I'm in better shape than I've ever been in my life.
Right.
Like, I definitely, it reinvigorated me to do things different.
Sure. Well, like, okay, so like you say that, so it's almost like, you got a second chance at life, really. I mean, kind of, you think about it.
A second chance?
Or
Like
a
47th chance?
15th chance. Yeah. Well, I mean, with your avid use back then, did you ever actually have a NDE, or where you went out, or they thought you were dead?
No, I never did any of that.
Okay.
I've never like overdosed.
Right.
I mean, I think the only time I was ever close to overdosing was like on OxyContin. And cocaine reverses that effect.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
If you didn't know that.
Just in case. In case you find somebody that's overdosing on Oxy, try to give them some coke.
Yeah, cocaine won't make it go away.
No, actually, they can do Narcan.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a thing?
Yeah.
I have, my trunk's full of Narcan.
Yeah,
too.
right. No, and Narcan is an opioid blocker, so it will.
Nikki Sixx did not like it.
Yeah, like, dude,
didn't know that.
You screwed my high.
Yeah,
dude.
he blew my high, bastard.
Right. But so anyway, well, so then you basically got your, whatever 50th chance, but this was really where you had some time to think about it, and you were thinking, hey, what's it all about? Am I going to die? Am I going to leave my kids behind? All that kind of stuff. So you had some time to, in retrospect. So.
Right. And then also, like, I got a free lapse during that. Like, they demanded that I take morphine. I mean,
right.
Like, you're in the hospital, whatever. And I refused it at first, and my doctor was like,
right,
bro,
you're gonna need this,
no.
dude.
and I asked, I had to see my pulmonologist for like 2 years afterwards to
Okay.
like make sure I was living. And I asked her, I said, hey, I didn't really need that morphine. Why did y'all give it to me? And she was like, dude, we just wanted to make sure you were comfortable.
Right.
Because they didn't think I was going to make it.
Oh, right.
They wanted me to die comfortably.
Which well, that was nice.
Yeah, it was nice of them.
Well, I guess so. Then, like, let's get back on to, because that was one thing that when I watched the episode, that I was like, oh crap, we didn't talk about the fact that he has like basically one lung. But then I guess in retrospect, the last episode, you didn't really talk about the message or deliver the message like you wanted to.
Well, man, I think I'm like kind of special in the respect that I've been through recovery so many times and failed at it so many times. And now, just to put it out there, on February, when is this going to come out? You know?
I have no idea. It'll actually be probably like 2 weeks from now.
So February 3rd is my 5 years.
Okay, well, congratulations.
So
hold on, let me see if I can get an air horn here. Yeah, there we go.
So in that time I've been sober, I've got to work with so many individuals, like whether it be with stages of recovery or guys I've sponsored a ton of dudes, and then I with my clients, I work real closely with their families. So
right.
I've learned.
Now, when you say clients, you actually work in recovery.
Yes. So
you and shout out Tony D. Work at the same spot.
That's right.
Okay. So give your spot a shout out.
Stages of Recovery.
There we go.
Best.
And it's in Waco.
Yeah. Well, Waco, Lubbock, and Oklahoma City.
Okay, but y'all are in Waco.
I'm in Waco, but I do all of our admissions for everywhere.
Okay, cool.
So
sweet.
But I've got to like, I really am thoughtful about this stuff because of how difficult it was for me and my family to kind of understand the nature of this, and then in working with other families, seeing where people fall short and what people don't understand or fail to understand, and really trying to help people bridge the gap. And like, I definitely support the 12 steps, but I do think there's a lot of other, I tend to deal with a younger crowd. Yeah. And I think there's things families could do sooner that could prevent people from ever having to step in AA.
Well, and I mean, the thing is the good thing about AA is it's everywhere. So every city, I mean, even small towns have at least one meeting. So, I mean, if that's the only game in town and you need help, I am a full proponent of it. But if there's alternates and you feel like you need an alternate, I mean, like I said, everything is pretty much basically based on that big book anyway.
For me, like, I burned so many bridges down. Like, thankfully, at the end of the day, I knew that the one place that would show up for me was AA.
Yeah.
Like, no one else
you never get, like, I don't know that anybody that ever got kicked out of AA.
I've been chased out of a couple meetings.
Yeah, a couple meetings, but not just in general. Maybe if you're falling out in the meeting, they'll escort you out. But
my reasons for getting chased out is I check dudes that are preying on newcomer chicks.
Oh, no.
I don't fuck with that, man. I got daughters and sisters, man. We don't play that shit.
All right. Okay. Well, so, but yeah, so you were saying.
So, yeah, I've like I said, I've had the opportunity to work with so many individuals and trying to figure out, like, AA is all about finding this higher power. You're willing to go to any lengths for your sobriety. Mm-hmm. Later on in the book, it says you're willing to go to any lengths for a spiritual experience. So that's something I've always really struggled with, was understanding the spiritual concept of it. And like, before this bout with sobriety, I never cared. Like, God wasn't there or not. Like, I just never cared.
Sure.
And, for me, my biggest lessons came from people I was trying to help.
Okay.
They're like, not the people that helped me, like, kept me in line, but I learned more from helping other people. Right. And I was working with this fellow that was a veteran, and he was the dude that was like, oh, I believe in God. Listen to this Thessalonians verse, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, sick. Like, you believe in God. Like, let's work it. And, dude, like, we had worked all 12 steps, and like a month later, we're talking, and the shit he was talking, I was like, dude, you don't fucking believe in God.
Right.
And he was like, well, what do you mean? Like, I just read the book of James, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no. You believe in God like I believe in aliens. Mm-hmm. Like, belief is just a fucking word to you. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't actually believe in anything.
Now, why would you say that, though?
Because it's like, we can all say we believe in anything, right? Like, I believe this table's here, right? Mm-hmm. That's not true. Mm-hmm. I know this table's here. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a fact. And that's a sticking point I have with the big book. Came to believe in a power greater than yourself. Dude, I know there is many powers greater than me. Like, I don't have to believe that. It's a fact.
Right.
Whether I choose it to be Jesus Christ or Buddha or whatever I choose for that to be.
Yeah.
Like, just believing in it, like, dude, if I believe in aliens, how can I prove to you I believe in aliens?
Right.
Put on a tinfoil hat and have a fucking UFO poster, X-Files poster on the wall?
Right.
Like, that doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
So the belief is that word is real funny to me. Like, believing and knowing and committing to a way of life are not the same thing. Because I can say I believe in anything. Am I willing to commit my life to this thing I believe in? And that's where recovery really worked for me. Okay. When I said, okay, the only way for me to go forward is to practice this, we'll call it religion, spirituality, whatever. I have to practice this shit.
Okay.
And that's where it has really worked for me. And, you know, I still struggle. Like, I do believe in God today. And I can look at my calendar and, like, if my life is on fire, like everything's fucked up right now.
Right.
I can count back like 7 to 10 days and said, that's where I kicked God out of the car. Like, it is that consistent now.
Ah, okay. So you kind of keep a spiritual inventory of
daily.
That's probably good. Yeah. Because, I mean, as far as that goes, you know, I think anything, you know, with time, you have a tendency to get disconnected from, or you can have a tendency to, you know, like even working out, you know what I mean? So, you know, working out, sometimes it takes, you know, dedication and discipline to do that. So,
well, and then, you know, I'm a real evidence-based guy today. And the evidence for a higher power, we'll call it God, working in my life is astounding. I mean, we talked about my most recent arrest, you know, right before I got sober, and how that panned out, how that played out. Like, that's...
Well, why don't we touch on that again?
Dude, I should have got 15 years in prison. I got 5 years of probation and did 2 of it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So you should have been up the river, so to speak.
And not only that, you know, I was a tornado of destruction for 20 years. How long should it take for me to get back all of what I lost?
Yeah.
Most people will say, well, 20 years. Dude, it took a year.
Right.
It took 1 year to restore most of my life, like have a relationship with my kids again, be in good standing with my family, be paying my bills by myself, you know?
Right.
That took a year.
Wow.
Yeah. And in 2 years, I had all that stuff back in a way that you couldn't just steal it away from me again. And now, like, now I have a foundation that I'm actually building a new and great life off of, that if I was the justice system, if I was the arbiter of justice, I would not...
Right,
where I'm at, you know?
You have not served your proper sentence.
No, not at all. But that's the beautiful thing about this belief in a higher power. Like, you know, the only thing that fixed me was the grace of God. It wasn't anything else.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's also, you know, being able to accept the fact that you did things wrong, you know. And I mean, I know that's putting it mildly. Yeah, I was going to say that's putting it mildly. But I mean, it's being able to accept, you know, what you've done, learn from your mistakes, and hopefully become a better person out of it eventually.
Well, if you or our listeners are anything like me, you know, when things start going good, that's my ego likes to step in and say, "Oh, look at what I did. Look what I did." Right.
But
really, the truth is, like, I do pray to be humble and stay in humility. The only thing I can actually take credit for today is the willingness to do something else that was suggested.
Yeah.
That's it.
I gotcha.
And, you know, dude, we talked about, I think on the title of the last video, you talked about 40 sobriety dates, which is probably accurate.
Yeah.
And I think of all the things, like all the shortcomings that I had, and one of the big ones for me that I do try to do better at today was I'd never met anyone that was like an adequate representation of what this thing could be. You know, I met a bunch of guys like in Lubbock that were at Texas Tech that, you know, it was having a sponsee was like having a notch on their belt. Like, look how cool I am. Look how cool I can sound in a meeting. Right. But no one could actually like show me anything. And it really took some materialistic, superficial bullshit to put me on the right direction. Right. Like my sponsor had a hot chick and a nice truck, and I was like, shit.
Well, it's that's the whole thing. It's like that's another part of the AA big book. Like if you want what we have, but I mean, I think when they're talking about that in the big book, they're not talking about, you know, ancillary financial things, but just the sobriety and the peace of mind, you know.
Well, you know, I'm a meth addict. Yeah. So shiny things look real cool.
Right.
Like,
right.
If you got some shiny shit, I'm going to follow you.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. So, you know, I mean, but it's all, it's all kind of how people present themselves. And I mean, when I was going to meetings and stuff, it was like I would gravitate towards certain people, right? Just because, of how they presented and like what they said made sense to me and resonated with me, you know?
Well, like that guy that I got that helped me out in the beginning, listening, I never heard his whole story until after I knew him, but hearing him share, I knew he had done like a couple decades in prison. Like, this dude was the real deal. And how can you have served 20, 25 years in prison and have a good life today? Yeah. That doesn't make sense to me. Sure. So from the outside looking in, that was a representative of what this recovery thing really can look like. Right. I mean, you can be redeemed through this. Yeah. And that's what attracted me early on. Like, sure, the dude had a great truck and he had a great hot fiance. Right. I want those things. That's what and maybe it wasn't the thing specifically, but it was the knowledge that this dude came out of all that darkness and now has a life today. Yeah. I want that.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. Well, hey, we're going to pause right there. And then what we'll do is throw it to commercial, but then we can talk more about the message that you bring. Anyway, we have our sponsor, which is Lil Sheila, Chad's mom. And here is that commercial.
Imagine getting that phone call as a parent that your son has been hit by a car and is being life flighted.
2 hours before we got the call, Chad had called me to tell me it was the best day of his life. And then I get another call, and a stranger had found him, and they were care flighting him to a trauma unit, and that he would start praying for our family that we needed to hurry.
You know, when you wake up on the operating table and they're like, we're going to cut off both your legs. And then I wake up and then one's gone, the other one's in an external rod system. It's just not good. The real kicker is that I've had like all of these scars all over my arms, and that's all from complications resulting from drug abuse.
I never thought about giving up on him. Never. This is my son, and I know he's going to be okay. You cannot just have help for the addict. You have to seek out professional help. The whole family has been affected.
And I just want to make that very clear to anybody who's out there listening, that if I can do this thing as much as I've been through, man, there's a lot of wiggle room for people before they get to that point where they can do it too.
All right, and we are back. That is actually a book that Lil Sheila has out, and it is called Two Calls. If you go to twocalls.org, you can get in touch with Chad or his mom, and that book is out there, and you can purchase it, and it's a really good book, and they're doing good stuff. And then we also have some music out, and here it is.
Focus yourself.
right. And that was one of our new tracks, which actually, if you want to go to, if you're on Spotify, you can just follow Kelly Reverb or Chad Lamons. But I have a playlist called This Is Kelly Reverb, and I kind of keep that updated. And it's got all our tracks. And, follow us there. And, follow us here on YouTube or Spotify as well, and then comment and like. And if you don't, God will strike you down.
He will smite you.
He will smite you. Hey, speaking of that, so what did you want to talk about before you got on your phone?
I was trying to find you. Dude.
You're trying to find music? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, there's this pink cloud.
I've got that already.
Oh, yeah, okay,
I'll
cool.
do it later.
Yeah, all right.
I was going to do it for you. So here it fucking is, bro.
Hey, look, check it out.
Yeah. No, so I wanted to kind of talk about my brand of recovery.
Yeah,
here.
dude, let's do it.
So we'll do it in story form because it's pretty interesting.
Right.
Like,
here, lean forward because like that sun keeps on like there. It's like
I kind of
it's coming.
it makes my eyes shine better.
It makes you look angelic. No, it's cool, dude. Whatever. Just lean. Yeah, you're fine. We'll just go with
get
it.
this shit good too.
No, you're
there
good.
We go. There we go.
You're good.
So, man, when I got sober, like, dude, I was kind of in a rough spot. Like, I didn't know what the fuck to do. I just knew that my life sucked. And I don't know if I told you this. I think I did. Is that how bad I wanted to die?
No.
Yeah,
Let's hear it.
I'm pretty sure I told y'all because, I definitely was having those self-pity prayers like, oh, God, if you just let me have an aneurysm tonight.
Right.
But
yeah.
then I thought about what my little boy would look like finding out his daddy died.
Sure.
And I said, man, I can't do that. So I need to live another way. And, I kind of fished around for some sponsors. Like, I had a couple early ones that
Right.
really, like, were just the dudes looking for to have another sponsee that really didn't give a shit.
Right.
Until I met this dude, and he just straight up told me, dude, shut the fuck up, man. Mm-hmm. Like, everything you say is bullshit. I watch people's walk, not their talk. So I worked the 12 steps out of resentment towards that dude. I'll show this motherfucker who he's talking to.
Well, it's funny. We talked, I think, on the other episode we did with Tony. We were talking about getting recovered out of spite.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily the right way. It worked for me.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I'll show you motherfuckers.
Well,
who
it kind of, and it's funny you said that because, it kind of worked for Chad. And I think it might be something that they just do blanket in recovery because when I was at rehab, it was like, only 2% of people actually stay clean. And I'm like, well, and I wasn't like angry about that. I go, well, that sucks. So, but that keeps the beds full.
I kind of think that's bullshit. I think that 2% of people, like the book says, rarely have we seen a person fail who thoroughly followed our path.
Yeah.
Listen, dude, I was that dude that would sneak a cell phone into rehab. Mm-hmm. And if you let a group, I would go back to my room and Google why that group was bullshit and come back to the next group and argue with you about why it was stupid.
Right.
So, I definitely can tell you all the reasons that 12 steps don't work. I can do it right now. They don't work because I didn't fucking work them.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Agreed.
So, I started working at Stages as just a lowly house manager several years ago and kind of was allowed some autonomy and some authority to do what I thought was right, which just seems crazy.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if we talked about me being a client at Stages of Recovery.
But
I was the worst client Stages has ever had.
I'm sure.
I got raided
Okay.
by the fucking SWAT team.
Nice.
As a client, that's awesome. I'll send you
awesome.
that picture too, where
All right.
bank robbery. It wasn't me, but they still raided me.
Oh, okay.
As a client at Stages in Lubbock, the fucking SWAT team raided me.
Nice.
But they gave me the autonomy to kind of run shit how I saw fit.
Right.
And then some weird things started happening. Dudes started sticking around longer. We started pushing people out because they were successful. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, dude, you've been here long enough. Like, why don't you, let's work on a plan to
yeah, let's
get
work
you
on
going.
an exit strategy.
So, I kind of worked my way up. I climbed my way up a little bit, started doing a little bit of missions, started doing some business development. And an opportunity came for me to move to Waco. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, what's in Waco? Like, fuck it, let's go.
Branch Davidians,
So
man.
I got to go out to Waco and meet Tony. Tony's one of my best friends today.
Yeah.
And we kind of when I got there, Waco was a little bit of a shit show. There had been some leadership change. A whole bunch of shit had just gone down. And so I got a clean slate.
Okay.
And it's funny, my first day in Waco, I was already in the Waco group chat with all the clients, but I didn't know anybody. Mm-hmm. And I show up on a Friday night and everyone's gone. Everyone's out at a meeting and I show up to the apartments and I start going through apartments, and no one's there at
Okay.
all. But I start seeing fucked up beds. Beds aren't made. Dishes are in the sink. Rooms are messy. And I'm just like, okay. My first order of business when I got there was I started sending pictures of fucked up shit in the group chat.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, y'all, this ain't going to fucking work, man.
Right.
But they let me kind of go out to Waco and, like, as a company.
Implement your own set of standards.
Well, I feel like Waco is kind of on an island for us.
Yeah, okay.
Where, like, the bigger company isn't so much present there.
I
they,
gotcha.
They just kind of let me do whatever I want. Like,
Right.
if someone was being stupid, I'd be like, hey, dude, you're being fucking stupid.
Right.
Like, go tell your therapist about it. Like, they'll send me an email. Like, I don't care. Like,
Right.
I don't give a shit about your feelings. I don't care about any of that. My goal is,
Yeah.
for you to be successful. And I'm going to fight like hell to get you there.
Right.
And with that, like, we've kind of developed this system that, you know, you said that 2% of people stay sober.
Right. Well,
Dude,
allegedly.
I don't know how accurate this is. It's pretty close.
Right.
But over the last year and a half, 2 years, our success rate's about 85%.
Right. It's funny because they'll say, well, only 2% of people stay sober, but then we have an 80% success rate. And I'm like, what?
Well, so I've run into problems, like, because I
Yeah.
have to be on the business side of this thing. And I've run into problems where I am retaining people for too long.
Okay.
And we start screwing up our PHP and our IOP groups because there's no one, like, everyone's done with the program and they're still living with us and staying sober.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, man, this is a good problem to have, really. And, you know, I've seen guys from all walks of life come in and turn it around. My favorite kind of guy to deal with for me, like what I'm most suited for, is your 18, 19, 20-year-old gangbanging punk-ass kids. We are killing it in that demographic right now, which
Right.
is, like, when you go to treatment, that's a harder one to deal with.
Sure.
I mean, because some of these kids have no frame of reference for how to just live life.
Right.
And fentanyl exists, so why would they? You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
And, dude, I mean, I've taken, like, a blood gang member out of El Paso. Motherfucker's in college now.
Oh, wow.
Like,
That's great.
Dude's killing it.
Right.
I had another kid. I wish I could tell who they were, but
Yeah, but-
they'll listen to this. They'll know I'm talking
Sure,
about
they'll
them.
know. Yeah.
But I got him a week after he turned 18, and he was a turd. I would say, hey, dude, why don't you consider working the 12 steps? He'd say, oh, I'm built different. Like,
Right.
sick, bro.
Right.
So the first time he moved out on his own, called me 24 hours later from jail.
Uh-huh.
The second time he stayed, like, each time with me, he had a little bit better until the third time he went way out there, caught some felony charges, went
Nice.
from, like, weed and sometimes fentanyl to, like, full-blown IV meth use. Like,
Oh,
just
nice.
fucking up.
Right.
And like I said, I deal with the clients, but more importantly, I deal with the families and kind of coach the families on, hey, this is what my family did for me that didn't work.
Right.
And this is what you're doing now.
Right.
Like, you tried for 19 years, and this is what resulted from that. Let me fucking try now.
Right,
And they're
yeah.
like, okay, like, we'll see. So the last time this kid came to me, his dad was sitting in my office, and this kid's bouncing off the walls, twacked out of his mind. And I said, hey, dude, I am about to fuck your son up.
Right.
And his dad goes, that's why I brought him here. And I was
Right.
like, okay, like, I just want to be clear. Like, I am not going to make this dude's life easy.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be hard. He's going to hate it, and he's going
Right.
to want to
And,
leave.
and the dad's like,
The dad was like,
please do.
Fucking, I don't care what you do, dude. Just,
Right.
I don't want a felon as a son. I want my son back.
Sure.
So this kid, long story short, this kid stayed with us for 14 months.
Uh-huh.
Bought his own car.
Right.
Saved up enough money to pay for 6 months rent in a new apartment, and moved out with $10,000 cash.
Right.
So, like, I don't know if you can measure recovery, but for a 20-year-old kid that's a drug addict,
Yeah.
that's a pretty fucking substantial accomplishment.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know,
Well, I mean, just like, there's a lot of things, simple things, dude. It's like driver's license,
All that.
Let's get, okay, you got your driver's license. Okay, now let's take care of let's clean up the history or get a payment plan, to clean up the carnage you left behind.
well, what me and Tony have kind of come up with is the system of accountability. Like, mine and your definition of success probably isn't the same.
Sure.
Right? So we want to figure out what somebody wants out of life, and we hold them to that standard.
Right.
It doesn't stop. Like,
Right.
you're accountable 24/7 to your standard. We're going to hold you to your own standard. Let you come up with your plan.
Yeah.
Like, you tell us what you want to do.
Right.
And we're going to make sure you see it through. And that, I mean, dude, we're hardcore. Like, Tony works there. I've got another guy named Dabney that works there. Dude, he's a militant 12-step. Like, nothing else works. And for him, nothing would work.
Right.
But this is what we're going to do. And,
Sure.
man, we have really put out a good system to get guys sober. And I this is what I say when I go speak at places.
Yeah,
So-
I was gonna say, let's get into what message you deliver. Yeah.
This is how I start out. I said, is everyone here sober today? And it was like, most people are like, yeah, I went to a place.
Most people are like,
Dude, I went to a place a while back and I said, is everyone here sober? And about half the crowd was like,
yeah, right.
because they're on methadone, Suboxone, whatever like that.
Yeah.
Which I think that has great utility. Not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done them both. I was not
Well,
sober.
and that is just for those that don't know, that's Matt. And that is, something that is you're supposed to actually graduate off of.
Yeah, there's a protocol for it. I do think that Matt has probably saved countless lives.
Oh yeah, dude. I think Matt is a great temporary solution.
That's right.
To hopefully the end goal, which is complete sobriety.
So this is how my message works when I go speak at places. Everyone here sober. This is as sober as you're ever gonna get. Like, you don't get more sober.
Right.
Like, this is it. Like, you're there. And if you came here to get sober and you are sober, we'll get your certificate and leave.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I talk about the 12 steps. The first step, we were admitted we were powerless over drugs and alcohol. Well, no shit. The second part of that step, and our lives were unmanageable. That's a harder one to swallow for a lot of people because people want to live in this delusion. Oh, I'm managing life. Good.
Yeah, they still got it together. Right.
You're not.
Yeah.
Your life is not manageable. And I use a lot of examples from my own experience. Dude, if you're 34 years old and your grandma has to order you a pizza because you got no money, bank account, or ID, your life's probably fucking unmanageable.
Right.
So the rest of the 12 steps really aren't necessarily a guide to stay sober. It's a guide to manage your life. And if you have a good, meaningful, manageable life, sobriety is a byproduct of that.
Right.
Like, too many places are, we just got to stay sober one stupid day at a time.
Right.
Bro, I've tried that. I have lived in a sober living for 11 months and stayed sober for 11 months. And nothing changed, and I relapsed over and over and over. And until I started finding a purpose and like some meaning in life, like, this shit would not work for me.
Right.
So I really...
so for you, what was that purpose and / meaning in life?
So,
because I mean, people like me, I would automatically think, well, you've got kids, you want to be there for them. That's kind of my main goal.
So here's the deal with that. Is, dude, I have kids and I love them. My purpose is not to be a father.
Okay.
That is my responsibility.
Yeah.
That's not the same thing.
Gotcha.
And most men, I can't speak to women. I'm not a woman. I can't identify with them. Love women. I support women. I'm here for women.
Sure.
But
I was going to make a Chad joke, but anyway.
but with men, we have to have a purpose.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know who I was, what I was, and definitely didn't know what my purpose was.
Right.
So my sponsor was like, "Hey, cool, man," because he goes, "Who are you?" And I was like, "I'm a fucking felon in Peckerwood." And he's like, "Like, bro, no, like, shut up, idiot."
Right.
But he was like, "Dude, you can pick who you want to be." And
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool." Like, and I started looking at people to kind of model my mental shit after.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's people that have shit going on that I want to be more like them.
Right.
So, and I don't know what my purpose is.
Would it be like, anybody that we know, like as far as, who you modeled after? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Dude, so growing up surfing, like, I really have like a proclivity for water stuff.
Okay.
And turns out there's a bunch of badass Navy SEAls out there that are also in recovery.
Uh-huh.
And those guys, their mindset and how they attack the day, that's something I kind of want to be.
Yeah,
more
you
like.
look up to and you resonate with.
But, talk about this purpose thing. This great book that we all read, I was going to bring mine in here today.
Right.
But on page 77 of the AA book, it says our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God and the people around us. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't need to add to that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's my purpose. My purpose is to be the best version of me possible so I can help as many people as possible.
Right.
And, like, when I think about the best version of me, sometimes that's a nice new car.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's looking good in the gym.
Right.
Sometimes that's having a super awesome hot girlfriend.
Right.
Because some newcomer comes in and says, that guy went to prison. That guy was a total fuck up.
Yeah.
And his life looks great.
Yeah. Look at him. Look at him now.
So to fit myself to be of maximum service. So
Right.
that means good things have to happen to me and for me.
Right.
And, I've really gotten pretty good at convincing people that that's the way. Like, let's have a better life. Let's do this. Like,
Right. Well, I mean, look, the whole thing is for me is I'm not here to be miserable.
Oh, right.
Which in my active addiction, when I was drinking every day, it was 100% misery. I mean, there was a window, and you could probably vouch for this, but there was that window of like, okay, cool, I'm kind of fucked up, but then it's just like, then you're like, oh God, I'm fucked up.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
I don't like, a lot of people talk about this misery using.
Yeah.
This is another thing I say is like, dude, we got to qualify addicts. I know there's a bunch of treatment centers that don't necessarily do that today, but normal people do not use methamphetamines. Your life has to be a certain level of fucked up for that to be a viable option.
Right. I always say that I got the memo on heroin and I got the memo on meth. So, but all the other stuff, yeah, bring it.
So if your life is that fucked up, then so this is one of the meetings I got kind of chased out of. Like I was really frowned at because there's all these old timers in there talking about, it's real easy today. All I got to do is not drink, and I was like, what? And it was a
And do meth.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So it was a popcorn meeting, and they would call on whoever shared next. And this old man said, "Hey, you in the green shirt, what do you got to share?" And I was like, "All right,
right,"
because I won't bite my tongue. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I said, "Look, dude, y'all are saying all I got to do is not drink. Well, the truth is, my life fucking sucks.
Yeah.
If you take away the drugs and alcohol, guess what?
Right.
My life still fucking sucks. So recovery isn't necessarily about not using."
Right.
It's about having a life that doesn't suck. And when my life doesn't suck, I don't want to use.
Right.
So like, yeah, I don't want to be miserable. If I'm going to be miserable, I can fix that right now.
Yeah, sure.
And I think today, like we all have good and bad days, but overall in the grand scheme of things, my life is infinitely better than it really ever has been before addiction. Like now I do have a purpose. Now I always look at this thing like God wants us to be happy, joyous, and free. Dude, I don't even want to be happy today. I go to the gym every day. I fucking hate it, dude.
Yeah.
I hate the gym so much.
Right.
But there's a benefit to it.
Sure.
I would rather be content than happy.
Okay.
All
right.
And like I think the happiness for me today is in the struggle of all this. Like having some struggle, facing some adversity, and overcoming it. I would rather have accomplished some hard things than just be on my couch.
Well,
being happy.
and I think that also might be a part of your personality type is if you're doing that, then it's keeping, if you're concentrating on your fitness, then your mind is occupied on that and, doesn't find other things or other ways to come try to kill you again.
Well, I got sober out of spite.
Yeah.
I work out the same way.
Yeah, you work out
Just imagine I'm getting attacked by fucking zombies. Like
it's
I'll
an
rip your
angry
fucking arm off.
workout.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny.
No, more often than not, that's what it is. And I listen to these podcasts where these dudes are talking about like blowing dudes up in Afghanistan, and I'm like, fucking sick. Let's go. But no, I've really had the opportunity to work with a lot of people, and I'm a relatable guy with the dregs of society.
Sure.
As a 3-time convict and this life of heartache behind me and excelling and doing all the good things, people see that and they're like, okay, what do I do?
Right.
And I say this, and this is crazy. My first year of sobriety was the easiest thing I ever did. But like I stopped trying to stay sober. I got this dude. Hey, dude, what do I do? He'd say, read your fucking big book. Or do you want $100 to call me when you're done?
Yeah.
Like, get over it. Let's keep moving forward.
Right.
So that first year was super easy for me. Like, I stopped trying to run the show. My best efforts get me fucked up every time. Like, early on, my higher power really was my sponsor. Like, I called him for everything.
Right.
And he was the one that's like, dude, you got to kind of start praying. Like,
yeah.
And he challenged me. He's like, I don't care who you pray to. I don't care what you say. But you need to get on your knees.
Yeah.
And I will say that in my sobriety, that's the one thing I've done consistently is I hit my knees. And like a lot of times I don't even say anything. Like it's a act of submission to my higher power.
Right.
Like bowing down to my king.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And like I think the goal of this is, God wants us to have free will, and he
Right.
wants us to choose to be in line with his will. So my prayers today are like, God, I don't know or care what your will is today. I just want to be a part of it.
Right.
So let's get out and help some people and
Well, there we
beat this
go.
stupid thing.
Well, and if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you? If they're looking for, a bro like you to help them out in recovery, or if they want to go to Stages.
Well, Stages, it's stagesofrecoverycenters.com.
Okay.
Is our website. Dude, we're a great place. Can I plug this real quick?
Yeah, of course, dude.
So look,
That's what I was setting you up for.
inpatient treatment costs about $30,000 for a month. We are a 15-week program for half that price.
Okay.
We're affordable. We're super nice. We're more long-term, and we're way more accountable.
Okay, cool.
And we've got a good thing going on. We have men's and women's facilities.
Right.
We have transitional housing in Lubbock and in Waco.
Okay.
Oklahoma City is outpatient only.
Right.
But man, we have a different model that the people that created this, invented it, were super thoughtful about this program and
Okay.
what we do. And we have an opportunity to, you're not locked up with us. You're not inpatient. You can live with us. You can go to our groups. You can go to work. You can come home at night. You
Right.
still have high accountability. You can still live your life. I mean, I've had people go through divorces. I've had people lose. I had a client that lost his 13-year-old son living with us. His 13-year-old son got run
Right.
over.
Oh, wow.
And he maintained his sobriety through that.
Oh, wow.
So
good for him, man.
Well, dude, he's a great guy. But
Yeah.
I think we have a really powerful entity to work with.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully you got to redeem yourself. Do you feel like you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude, I've been doing good. Everything's good.
That's good. Well, because I know you said to me that you were in your head thinking about what you were going to say, and I know how that can be.
Oh, yeah. I don't. That anxiety and paranoia thing people have?
Yeah.
I don't fucking have it.
I don't have it, of course.
Yeah, if I'd had anxiety, I would say out of so much trouble.
Hey, man, initially that's what I had, and that's why I would drink. That was the whole thing, is to self-medicate, and I started having panic attacks, but the temporary solution became the problem.
See, I was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to feel some paranoia.
Yeah.
How much for a little bit of that anxiety?
Right. Well,
Got
but
any
so
of that?
anyway, but what I was saying is, where can they get a hold of you on Facebook or
I don't do
Instagram?
Facebook. I got
Okay.
Instagram,
Okay.
Ryan_McCartor.
Okay.
Instagram.
And they can just DM you.
They can DM me.
Okay, cool.
They can call the Stages line. I'll answer it. I'm the one that answers that phone.
Okay. Cool.
And man,
Do you know the number?
there's several. It depends on
okay.
like if you go online, like it depends on what location.
But just
you're
look
at.
up Stages Waco and they can find.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, dude, I'm around. I'm in the DFW area. I'm in Austin. I'm all around Texas
Right.
every week. So
Okay.
I think I'll be in 4 places this week.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then next week we have a guy named Joseph Upton coming on. He actually hit us up on the social media, and he is, I believe, celebrating a birthday. But he's going to be on next week. Be sure like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and remember, kids, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was,
We would take 2.
We would all take too many.